I was talking about the types of different attacks that we suffer when we're going through spiritual warfare, and a lot of people, especially if you're new to this, you might not understand that you're being attacked at all. So I just wanted to go through a few of the different ones that I've experienced up until now. And one, I see a lot of attacks come like in forms of your dreams. Like at first, I just thought I was suddenly having all these bad dreams or whatever. But like then when it started getting really weird and specific, like I had these two guys that were majorly attacking me like constantly. Like it was almost like a tag team type of thing. Like when one wasn't attacking me, the other one was, and they like to send these rape scenes, and that was just so. But what I noticed about that was once I got that type of attack a couple of times, then I was able, when I saw it even coming in the dream, I was able to just wake myself up and get out of it, because I was like, now I see where this is going. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of really pay attention, especially if you know the people that are attacking you. So, like one of the earlier ones I had gotten, this was before I even realized I was really under spiritual warfare. Like that was this horrible nightmare, and it was like showing these demons coming, walking around the town, and it was like a town I had lived in, probably grew up in or something like that. And it was weird because it was like, say my mother was in it, and I guess that would be an easy image for them to be able to conjure up, because it's, my mother's image is still in my mind. But it was a lot of people that I know now, like maybe I've seen, while I'm at work, and I thought, like, how odd is that? Like, why would these people be in my dream? Okay, so then that was that, the dreams, the nightmares. They would, oh, okay, like, so once I figured out, the rape scenes or whatever, they would kind of switch it up. Instead of having like all these guys, is like, if I saw a whole bunch of, I don't dream like that, I ain't been dreaming about a whole bunch of guys, you know what I mean? So they'd switch it up. It'd be like a mother and her two daughters, and like maybe one guy is in the background or something. The next thing you know, the mother will exit, the daughter will exit, then I'm just trapped there with it, so you gotta, I kind of felt that out and got, out of those. But it's just strange, like how people try to use the same forms of manipulation. And once, the first time you might be like, whoa, what is that? What's going on? But after you keep seeing it over and over, it kind of just gets weird. You're like, what is wrong with these dudes? So another one is, besides the dream manipulation and stuff like that, it was the like sending monitoring spirits. And at first I was like, I, I kind of felt like, well, what's, the point of it? And the point of the monitoring spirits was really to, so they can report back to them everything that you're doing. If you're sleeping, then they let them know. If you're, awake, if you're leaving the house, if you're not home, or whatever, they're going to let them know. That's basically what they're doing. They're monitoring you. But what was unnerving about those were, say I'd be asleep, and this is what, before I understood like what type of spirit was in the house or whatever. And if I had like my phone or something next to my bed, and I'd start waking up, and it would like literally speak to me. Now I don't know if that's because I have the gift to hear, audible perception, but it would be like, shh, lay down, or be quiet, or just, and I was like, what in the world? And that's when I knew. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So, I had to figure out how to get rid of those. And with the, it's mostly, you just say a prayer, like, um, Ephesians 6:12 was like basically my standby to really help me through most of these attacks and everything. So you would just say it like over and over and over. And like I said, like, I could hear when the, spirit is dispatched, like gone. It's like, it's like a wind or something. But I have the gift of, but what I think happens is if you keep using that, you keep using your, your prayers and everything, your gifts get, stronger, and you start being able to hear more and better. Because when I heard that, and that was a couple of times, like it just would be like trying to get me to go back to sleep or lay down. And I noticed at one point I kept looking in the mirror. Every time I turned around, I was like, what do you keep looking in the mirror for? Because I never do that, and that's one of the things that the spirit does to you. It just makes you keep looking in the mirror, or it'll tell you to just like lay down, or it'll have you eating. Like I just kept eating mashed potatoes like all the time. Now I love mashed potatoes, but it just occurred to me, after a couple, I was like, why am I eating so many mashed potatoes? And that was one of the things they wanted the monitoring spirit to do, was make me get fat, gain weight, and stuff like that. So that was kind of crazy. Another spirit that was sent to me was like, it was like a spirit spouse or incubus, succubus, however it goes. It's like it. I was not asleep. I was asleep. I woke up, but I'm just laying there like under the covers. And for some reason, the cover was like she was over my head. And so I'm about to like get up because I'm awake now at this point. And I felt something like grab me and was like holding the sheet over me, and I was like, what? And I was like, what's going on here? I'm not even asleep. And I had to like get up really quick, and I had to say a prayer, some prayers, and get that off of me and figure out how to get rid of it. And that was crazy too. And that's probably like one of the scariest things, when you're so stunned by it, and you just don't even. And it's like I said, when you're in that halfway sleep, halfway wake state, and you're like, wait a minute, but oh no, I felt this, like there's something actually holding me, and that was like crazy. But other types of attacks, say like they could put a spell on you. Like one day I thought I caught the spell because I was looking at something, and I had a vision like that the person had put a spell on my door. So I thought I caught the spell, but I had already walked out the door prior to that. So I thought I caught it. I thought I, this, got rid of the spell or whatever, made it disappear. But a little while later, I'm looking around. I'm like, why does everything look so weird? And it was just, you know, everything was distorted, and it was like, if I was watching TV, it would look like people were doing stuff that, they shouldn't have been doing, or they would turn directly and look at me or something and start talking to me. And it was just like really weird. And it was like, the vision would be distorted, or if I was like watching a video like YouTube or something, it would just start being all wavy and wiggly, almost like you were taking an acid trip or something like that. Like it was really just distorted and crazy, and I just couldn't, So that was another one of the attacks that just like kind of threw me. And other types of spiritual warfare, like I experienced a lot of gang stalking, and it was just like, you don't even know what's going on. Like, why is it seem like everywhere you go, people are just staring at you like crazy? And you're like, and what I've noticed is people are quick to believe a lie. Somebody can say something about, oh, she does witchcraft, or she does black magic or something like that. And they're quick to believe that. They're not going to ask you about it. It's just easier to feed off of it and believe it and keep spreading the lies, instead of maybe come up asking me, because why would you just keep going and spreading that around, And it was just really crazy how nobody's even giving me the benefit of the doubt. They're just believing whatever people are telling them. And it was like, it got to the point where it was nearly the whole neighborhood where I live. Like everybody's just staring at me and stalking. And, they might, at first everybody was cool, and hey, because I don't bother anybody. I stay in the house, I go to work, come home, go back in my house, So it was just weird that, things were happening. Like my packages, it says delivered, but the package is gone. And that happened a couple of times. And then it was, well, sometimes, I guess the delivery might have been messed up, and that's understandable. But sometimes people just took it because I don't know what they were expecting. I guess because everybody's watching, I guess they're thinking they're going to send something to prove that I was a witch or doing black magic or something like that. I don't know what that was even all about, but Yeah, the gang stalking was like really crazy, and with that, you just kind of gotta ignore it and keep on. But you have to still keep yourself safe, because you never know who's gonna flip out and fly off the handle and decide to do what to cause you harm. So you have to be careful about things like that. And like I said, my Wi-Fi being hacked, my phones being tapped and cell jammed, and also when they do that, they can copy the information out of your phone. So my debit cards weren't safe. My credit cards weren't safe. They had already had because they hacked my Wi-Fi. I had personal information in my computers. Social security numbers, my birth certificates, and stuff like that. So they had access to all that type of stuff. So when you even start noticing you're going through this, the first thing to do is try to really just protect yourself, and every possible way. Start going go to YouTube, and that's where I found a lot of other people that were suffering from the same issues, and things like that. And that's why I'm actually doing these videos, because I heard spiritual warfare. Oh, I'm under attack, and I couldn't understand. I was like, well, how are you being? What's the attacks look like? And once you go through it, you understand. And like I said, at first I didn't understand. I'm looking, I'm like, why is my vision distorted? Why? And you really have to try to catch these attacks before they affect you. And that's what makes people go crazy, because if you don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden you just see videos going blurry, and you see people turning around in a movie and start talking to you specifically. There's been times where I've been listening like with headphones to a video, and some other voice will come in like through the middle of the video and be like, yeah, well, you better be scared because we're not going nowhere. Just crazy stuff like that. And you're like, oh, okay. So that once your internet is hacked, they can come in and pretty much distort anything, and you don't know what's really going on. So just have, just extra precaution, and let you know what some of the attacks might look like.